but he not on the schedule. I ain't taking no from my who ain't heavy. I'm the best and you heard what I said. Spend all the money, I'm dripping, it's falling. Got on it, then it's dripping like water. Teaching but I don't have a daughter. I know me, I can pick up when I call her. Working big and it don't hurt to break, cause I'ma always do it how I wanna do it. Every time he lead a do it, Mr. Knew I got him running to it. I'ma need to pull the mail before we talk it that I'm waking up and thumbing through it. Run like a runner do it. Stun on her till like a stunner do it. I'm the best, I'm the best. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, and I go, get on go. If I touch it, then it's cold, then it's cold. I'm the best, I'm the best. And I got it, and I got it on my own.
Something we've only seen less than a handful of times since this franchise was born back in the 90s, and that's Jacksonville hosting in the playoffs as we welcome you to TIAA Bank Field. Straight ahead, it's Wild Card Weekend, and we've got a great one in store between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The battle for the Lamar Hunt Trophy begins as we're underway in this AFC wildcard game. And no run back on the opening kickoff. It'll come out to the 25. Throwing on the first play from scrimmage, here's Burrow. Open man, that's Devontae Smith. And he'll be out of bounds across the 30-yard line. A good safe pass there right off the bat.
That's almost a rhythm play. That's what we like to call it. Get them into rhythm early, something safe, something they're confident about, something they feel good. And once that's completed, then you just keep moving from there because the confidence elevates.
That one, a first down pickup of 8.
Good running right there. And this is a man who was a 1,000-yard rusher in the regular season, so you know he's going to get his chances. And he picks up nice yardage on that one.
This is our time. Here we go. Ready?
They will throw on first down with Burrow. On the screen, this is Eckler. And he'll be brought down right at the 45-yard line.
I like it, I like it, I like it. Get everyone involved in the passing game, and you know you can create those great mismatches throwing it to your guys out of the backfield.
And on the first drive, that can also help establish some rhythm, right?
I think so, and gets everyone involved. They feel like they're part of it and really gets them amped up as they go forward.
From the 45 on second down, Burrow. Oh, that's into a double team, and it's intercepted. And the Jags are going to take possession of the football. And certainly, look, you're on the road in the playoffs. That is a suboptimal start, opening drive INT.
And, partner, sometimes I wonder, do these teams talk about it to such an extent that maybe you almost talk yourself into the turnover when you're trying to avoid it?
Yeah, maybe they get a little too worried about keeping the football, and then you give it to the other team right off the bat. And, look, we said it, on the road, this is just a terrible, terrible start for them.
It is, and now they've got to rely on their defense.
He'll get a nice chunk there on the first down run, and it's 2nd and 4. A nice run right there, and we talk this time of year about certain teams, certain players who don't have a lot of postseason history to speak of. And here's a man right here in his rookie season in the NFL, and he's being asked to carry the load at running back for this offense.
And he has acquitted himself nicely here in his rookie year. And, look, I think we both believe that the burden's a little lighter on backs and receivers than it is on quarterbacks in the playoffs. But that's not to say this is going to be easy. As fast as the NFL game is in the regular season, it's like warp speed when you turn the pressure up in the postseason. So let's see how he handles things early.
On 1st and 10, it's Hall. And they'll bring him down at the 18-yard line. It'll be a a pickup of 10 yards. And that'll make it second and a foot or so.
On any explosive run, you can almost feel the ground shaking, and that's from the offensive linemen creating space for their runners. I had an old coach tell me before that he always told his runners, run around the offensive line in pregame. Get used to the ground shaking so you don't trip and fall when it happens in a game.
They'll get 3 as the drive continues. It's a first down. Throwing is Hurts. Being chased out left. Into double coverage, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Quay Walker. And the Chargers are going to get the football here as he gets this up past the 20-yard line. Charles, not only is that an interception, it's one when you were really knocking on the door for a touchdown inside the red zone.
You're actually thinking points. No matter what, at worst, you're thinking kicking a field goal and getting 3. We might look back on this in the second half and say, you remember when they didn't get points on that drive? This could cost them.
After the loss to start out, here's 2nd and 11. Burrow will throw. Oh, that's into a sea of bodies, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Richie Grant, and the Jaguars are going to take possession of the football.
Well, it doesn't take a whole lot of investigation to figure out why they're still sitting at 0 on the scoreboard, because their quarterback's got to wake up and start reading defense a heck of a lot better after throwing his 2nd interception.
Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. Trying to shake off the interception from the last drive. He'll look to throw. Looking for Dotson, and he's got him. Touchdown! Jahan Dotson, 37 yards. And the Jaguars will strike first here in this wild card matchup. Point after, right down the middle. And it's now a 7-0 game. Here's the Jaguar kick team now as they run up and send this one away. And it'll come out to the 25 as he will not attempt a return. The Charger drive about to get going. And it's been a miserable start for them offensively, obviously. 2 drives, 2 interceptions.
And this is where you have to know your quarterback and know how you actually have to reach him. Do you do it with a little bit of humor? Maybe you break the ice a little bit, like, hey, didn't we practice in that color jersey all week, not the one that you're throwing it to? Or maybe you have to be stern with him. But whatever it's going to take to get the message, it has to be done. He's putting the game in jeopardy.
Throwing now, Burrow on 1st down. Looking Austin Eckler's way again. So the completion good for 7 there, and that'll make it 2nd down. We've seen quite a bit of the short passing game here early on 1st quarter, haven't we?
We have, and I think it works a couple of ways for this team because, number one, you throw the short game until they stop it. And if they're not going to stop it, you keep throwing it, and occasionally you'll break a tackle and turn into a bigger gain. Also, if they start to creep up, start to pressure receivers, now you go over the top, take it deep, and now you get some of those big shots downfield.
On 2nd down, Eckler. Just not a whole lot of room to operate there on that carry.
No, not at all. They did a really nice job staying in their proper places and not allowing any lanes to open up.
3rd and 2, now Burrow. He'll get this out wide to Eckler. And he is going to have the Chargers 1st down by a couple of yards as they're able to get 4 there on 3rd and 2. I think everyone in the stadium saw that big hit coming.
And I, as a former defensive back, have to admit I'm a little disappointed. He actually was able to hold on to the ball. He brought the lumber on that play. Give my man a whole lot of credit for taking the hit and possessing the football.
And picking up the 1st down. A first carry here for J.J. Taylor. And he edges forward, but only gets a pair of yards out of it. It's 2nd down.
You've got to be impressed by that defensive front on reps like those. They were not being moved off the line, kept their shoulders square, and gave their teammates time to fight to the ball and limit that gain.
Throwing on 2nd and 8. Burrow. It's caught. Beckham. And a 5-yard gain gets him to the 42.
And I think this is a route we'll see more of as this game goes on, because with his speed, they want to get him the ball in space on drag routes just like this. They want him to get the ball and run after the catch. Good job there, though, holding him for a short gain.
And he's brought down short. 2 yards there, needed 4. They'll run for it with Eckler. And he's able to get the first before he's taken down at the 36. A solid pickup of 5 and a very solid 4th down conversion. And defensively, pure frustration. After one, 7-0 on EA Sports. This offense finding its legs now. Here's another 1st and 10. Now Burrow. And for the 3rd time here in this half, it's intercepted. Picked up by Christian Fulton. And the Jags will take over here at their own 12-yard line. A nightmare of a first half for him. That's now 3 interceptions. But, Charles, with his talent, if anyone can shake this off and right the ship, it's him.
I agree, because you don't get to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league without developing some major mental toughness. So I expect him to go in the locker room at halftime, hit the reset button, and come out a new guy in half number 2.
Room here to run. And they nearly get this all the way to midfield. Mark him down at the 49. 65 yards rushing for him in his first half, as he has certainly carried over his regular season success into the playoffs. On 1st down, right back to Hall. And that'll hurt the average a bit, as this time they're able to get him behind the line. Credit the defense there to Quay Walker, getting behind the line of scrimmage before they could rip off any sort of a gain. So a step in the wrong direction. Now they'll look to make amends on 2nd and 14. They go play action with Hurts. It's caught. This is White. And this one's going to go the wrong way. Losing yardage back at the 42. They'll wind up losing 3 here on the play. And they're going to face an uphill battle here on 3rd and long. They rolled out of the pocket right, and I think he wanted a little something more out of that play, obviously. Instead, he hit his safety valve.
It looked like 2 well-coached teams there, even though there was no yardage gain, because the offensive guys, hey, they realized their quarterback was out of the pocket. All the receivers went to the right spots, tried to get in his sight line, tried to open themselves up. Just nowhere to go where they could gain yardage. How about the defensive guys, though? Did not lose leverage and kept their poise and made a really nice play.
They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
And in a lot of ways, that catch is expected. Red zone presence, and that one was realized there. You've got to find your tight end in that situation.
After the big play, a chance to finish now on 1st and goal. White will get it into the end zone for a Jaguar touchdown. Well, he didn't find the end zone a whole lot in his rookie campaign, but he's got himself a touchdown here in the playoffs.
And we know the guys on the other side of the field were hoping that he would be intimidated by playing in the postseason, but they can just let that go because he's as confident as they come. And I know that he believes that that's the first of many playoff touchdowns that he's going to have as his career progresses.
Here's the Jaguar kick team now as they run up and send this one away. From a couple yards deep, he'll bring it out of the end zone. And a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line.
Here we go.
The Charger drive about to get going. As the offense comes out here, Charles, remember they threw the interception last time out, but they were moving the football down the field. Looked like they were going to have a sustained drive that ended in points, but then the pick ensued.
And because of that, there's no way you can call the last drive a success. Yes, there are things to build on because they found some play calls that work. Now, they've got to build another drive and find a way to avoid the turnover that plagued it on the last one.
Again, it's Burrow on 2nd and 10. Flushed out right. This is caught by his tight end, Logan Thomas. And he's going to be out of bounds, but not before he takes it inside the 40. The catch and run going to wind up netting him 33 yards. So how about that for a chain mover? They're all the way down inside the 40 now for 1st and 10. Now he's going to swing this one out to his running back. Call it a gain of 6 on the play, and it's 2nd down.
Just about every quarterback is trained to really look downfield first before you come back and make a nice, safe throw. And in this case, that's exactly what he did. Found his running back, let him create some space, and it turned out to be a nice play for the offense.
And he'll get this to the 22. So they began the play at the 11, and it's a gain of 11. 1st down.
We use the word relentless a lot with guys who are aggressive on the field. In this case, it really fits, doesn't it? How about his ability to break tackles and his feet never stop moving?
Now Burrow on 1st down. It's caught on the right side at Smith. And he's brought down inside the 20 at the 18-yard line. Looking to throw again on 2nd down. Burrow escaping the pressure right. And able to get this down inside the 15, either the 13 or 14 before he's out of bounds. He'll wind up getting 4 there on his own, but it will leave him now with a 3rd down situation.
Here we go.
Coming up here looking for 3 yards to pick up the first. On 3rd down. And this pass broken up. Excellent coverage there on 3rd down, as that was not an easy one to hold on to.
Like what I see so far out of this defense, because they've been showing their best coverages on 3rd down. So far, only allowed 1 conversion on a handful of attempts. One area of their game plan that they've executed to perfection.
The Chargers going to signal for the first of their timeouts. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this 2nd quarter. Out is Myers for the Seahawk field goal. From the right hash, this a 31-yard attempt. Myers' kick is good, and they will get themselves on the board here at 14-3. So from an offensive perspective, at least able to get on the board here right in front of the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, now it's time to talk about complementary football, isn't it? Because if the defense can force a 3 and out, there could be enough time on the clock that they can get the ball back for their offensive guys and maybe put some more points on the board before the half.
The Jacksonville offense set to begin their next drive. And that last drive, so effective in the passing game, resulting in the touchdown. Maybe not many people were focused on the trenches. There was good protection there.
Excellent protection. So now defensively, you've almost got to get down to those starters blocks like you're a sprinter. Get lower than those guys on offense and find a way to roar through them or around them to get into the face of the passer.
Easier said than done, though.
Way easier said than done. But they've got to try something because right now they're just cutting them to shreds.
Here's a 2nd and 2 now from the 33. Opting to run again here with White. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. The Jags picking up the first down there, a gain of 12.
For a lot of guys playing this game, there's no better feeling than running right through a tackle. He's able to lower his center of gravity and churn his legs for a really nice pickup.
First down, here's White. And he's going to get across midfield and into Charger territory. It's a 6-yard pickup, and it gets him to 2nd and 4.
And there we saw one of the downsides of blitzing during a rundown, because sometimes you get out of your gaps. You don't fit the run quite as well because you're headed towards the ball carrier with abandon.
From just shy of midfield, Hurts. This one into the hands of the running back, Balaj. And he's brought to the ground with another first down at the Chargers' 39. It's a 10-yard pickup, and that's enough to move the chains. And a good quarterback facing zone coverage. If he has just a little bit of time to survey the scene, that's what's going to happen.
No doubt about it. If there's no pressure, he's going to continue to pick them apart because he'll have all that time to find someone open downfield. You can only cover for so long. So maybe they want to go to a zone blitz scheme, get a little bit more pressure. Remember when Carolina did that against Denver? They lost the game ultimately. They dropped the defensive end out, and he ended up with an interception in that game in Super Bowl 50. Maybe some sort of scheme like that to try and get more pressure at the passer.
So line of scrimmage still at 39 on 2nd and 10.
31's the mic. Let's go one more.
Throwing from the gun, it's Hurts. And that's to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And he'll be hauled down at about the 30-yard line.
We didn't need to ask around the league, but we got to confirm this guy's a good player. They've got to find a way to get him more involved, call a few more plays that target him.
Absolutely, because here we are toward the end of the first half, and that's the first target, not just the first catch, first target. And he will have a Jaguars first down as they're able to convert by plenty there on 3rd and 1. So we're at halftime of this AFC wildcard matchup as we now go downstate to Orlando and check in with Jonathan Coachman with our EA Sports Halftime Report. And we welcome you back live now inside the booth alongside Charles Davis. I'm Brandon Gaudin, set and ready to rock for the 3rd quarter. Both teams trying to avoid being one and done in these playoffs as we start the 2nd half of this AFC wildcard game. Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive. And they're in the position they expected to be in. They've got the lead, home crowd behind them, and they're looking toward making that next step in these playoffs.
And I think a key for them is to put together some good, long, extended drives. Work the run in a little more with that big offensive line. I'm not saying get away from throwing the football. That's still working. But if they run it more effectively, they may get even bigger plays in the passing game.
They'll operate from the 32-yard line here, 2nd and 3. Hurts. On the throw, led him too much that time. It's incomplete.
The touch and time are critical for those types of throws. He put a lot of zip on that one. Needed just a little bit more finesse trying to get it to his back.
So the incomplete pass on the last play, and that leads us to a 3rd and 3. They'll try to pick this up on the ground with White. And he's going to have the first down at about the 38. 42 yards rushing for him now on just 6 carries to this point.
On 3rd down, that's a good job of situational football and understanding where the first down marker was and getting there.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. Hurts sets up to throw it. He'll get that out to the flat to White. And he'll get it out a couple yards shy of midfield at the 48.
And we see another pitch and catch there to the running back. This position just continues to evolve. They become just as critical to the passing attack is a lot of receivers, tight ends, because their ability to make people miss in the open field can really generate big plays for an offense.
And he'll take it down shy of the 45 at the 46. 7 yards there and a first down.
2nd and 1 is often an invitation to take the big shot downfield. I bet the offensive lineman said, are you kidding? We just get on our backs and let's go get the first down. They love being physical.
Play action. Here's Hurts. Oh, he rifles one, and that's going to be intercepted. Picked off by Bobby McCain. And the Chargers are going to have great field position here as this is returned just shy of midfield. That is just what this defense was hoping for, an interception on the opening possession of this third quarter.
Obviously didn't want to surrender a touchdown and fall even farther behind, and we've gotten to know this team a little bit, haven't we? Couldn't you just see their defensive leaders telling the offensive guys, telling the quarterback, don't worry, we got you to start things off. You take it from there.
A gain of 11 to kick off the drive, and it's a quick first down. Eckler now between the tackles. And boy, this defense again really making things tough on him as they stop him for no gain.
Sometimes with the running game, you've just got to stick with it. Look, this is the third quarter, no time to panic. But that also doesn't mean you just do it the same way you've been doing it the entire ball game. Maybe change up some blocking assignments or run a few different plays, but stay with the overall essence of the running game.
And he'll cross over out of bounds right at the 25. Give him 15 yards on that one and a Charger first down.
Well, that's what you're looking for when you want to throw the ball downfield. You want one of those guys who can play out on the perimeter, can play out wide, who can not only get open, but when they're covered, can uncover themselves downfield and create catches.
On 1st and 10, Joe Burrow. And this will be incomplete. Physical play on the football there, and it's 2nd down.
Well, they certainly aren't letting up today, partner, because they've forced big turnovers already. And it's been incredibly tough for them to get yards against, let alone put points up on the board.
He gets it to Thomas. Still in search of their first touchdown of the game, but they're on the move. 1st and 10. Up the middle with Eckler. Trying to run inside, but nothing there. Calling no gain on the play, and it'll be 2nd down. Now, they struggled to get him rolling on the ground in the first half, and that's sort of continuing here in the third quarter.
Yeah, but I don't think it's time to abandon the running game. I would say keep feeding the horse, and I believe he'll eventually reward them, especially as we get deeper in the game.
So back-to-back plays, each get nothing. And that's going to set up a tough 3rd and 9.
As a defense, you're more balanced when you're in zone coverage because you're able to keep your eyes on the quarterback and see the play develop in front of you. You're able to keep the quick pass in front of them and stop it right at the line of scrimmage.
On 3rd down, Burrow. It's caught. Smith. And he'll be tackled right on the 10, well short of the first down. The result, only 4 yards there on the play. And that's going to make it 4th down. Myers' kick is good. And a second field goal here cuts their deficit to 14-6 now. Well, the 3 points certainly helps, but you feel like, Charles, at this stage of the game, when you force those turnovers, need to start converting them into touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised myself because I thought in this situation they were thinking end zone or bust. Now they got to rely on their defense to get the ball back again for another opportunity to get 6 points.
The Jacksonville offense set to begin their next drive. As this offense takes the field against CD, remember last drive they were moving the football, but then they threw that costly interception, so we'll see if they can right the ship here on this drive.
And doesn't that just sum up football? We see it all the time, don't we? The defense goes from losing the battle to making a huge play and stealing the momentum. So you know they're riding high right now, and they're ready to challenge this offense and that quarterback one more time.
And we'll see if the offense is up for that challenge here as things start to get more interesting here in the second half. And he's going to get this down to the 35-yard line. Back-to-back receptions for him, and it's another first down. From From the gun, it's Hurts. Well, that'll be caught. It's St. Brown. And he's going to be brought down at about the 16.
My goodness, they've come out locked in on this drive. Play calling, execution, they are fully in sync. 3 straight passes, 3 first downs. They're moving the ball downfield almost at will. This defense really struggling to find answers.
So they'll get 8 out of that completion, and they'll be left with second and a couple. Now the former 4th-round pick, it's Kalen Ballage, and he stopped immediately there. He got maybe a half yard at most, but officially they'll be left with a 3rd and 2. It shows you right there, he can do more than just cover in the secondary from that free safety position.
Yeah, the evolution of the position has really been significant, hasn't it? Because a lot of teams no longer have a free safety, strong safety designation. They just have safeties. So wherever the ball is, one can be close to the line of scrimmage, one can be deep, and vice versa. On that play, how about that tackle we just saw? Pretty nice.
The Jaguars on 3rd down. A perfect 3 for 3 as they look to keep that streak going. Here it's 3rd and 2. Again, it's Ballage. And he won't have the touchdown, but he will have the first down as he's tackled at the 2. Give him 6 yards, and they do convert on 3rd. So 1st and goal, 6 points here would go a long way toward wrapping this one up. Ballage trying to get to the goal line, but he's going to be stopped just short at the 1. 2nd and goal from the 1. Here's a run with Ballage, and he'll take this one in for a Jags touchdown. Kalen Ballage punching it in from a yard away. And the Jaguars have opened up a 2-touchdown lead here in this 4th quarter. Extra point right down the middle, and the lead is up to 15 now. Here's the Jaguar kick team now as they run up and send this one away. And we'll see a return here from the end zone. And a nice return sets him up pretty good here right at the 30-yard line. The Charger drive about to get going. They are most likely staring at a cold end to their season here in this wild card round. Nothing has gone right so far, and they are, to be frank, in desperation mode now as they begin with a 1st and 10. So in Jacksonville territory now, here's a 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. And his throw's going to be incomplete.
I think he's got to be careful not to force anything into coverage right there. There weren't really any throwing lanes, but the best part for him, he's got 2nd and 3rd down to fall back on.
To throw again on 2nd down. Burrow flush to his right. The ball comes out, and this is going to get out of bounds, so they will gain a bit of yardage on the play, actually, and they'll hold on to the football as well. You can almost see inside his face mask there the look of relief. He coughed it up, but it goes out of bounds. They keep it.
Someone carrying around the lucky horseshoe, aren't they? If I were him, I'd go out and play the lottery after that one. A very fortunate man.
And they're operating in plus territory here. They're thinking points. Definitely don't want to lose. And his pass is intercepted for the 4th time today. Picked off by Marlon Humphrey. And the Jaguars will have the football as this is taken up past the 30. If they had designs of kind of wiggling their way back into this one, that hurts their chances right there.
They had to put it mildly. We look at the lead, look at the deficit, trying to make a play downfield. Everyone seeking to be somewhat the hero. Didn't turn out that way at all, and you're exactly right. It's going to take a lot for them to have a chance to win this one now.
Jaguars come to the line to start their next drive. And they are looking good. A 2-score lead here in this 4th quarter as they hope to capture a spot in the divisional round next weekend. The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9. Here's Hurts to throw. Eluding the pressure right. He's got a man, complete. And he's got to be out of bounds, but not before he takes it inside the 40. A gain there of 30 big ones.
Even with the big lead here in the fourth, it still bombs away, and frankly, it's working. Why should they stop? Go ahead and keep firing away and gaining those yards.
So how about that for a chain mover? They're all the way down inside the 40 now for 1st and 10. Looking to throw. He's taken down, trying to do a little too much, getting outside of the pocket, and it results in a sack. And they need to work to at least get some of this yardage back after the sack. 2nd and 19. He'll drop to throw. Open man left side, it's the tight end Trimble. And a 5-yard gain gets him to the 42.
And let's face it, you can put any Halloween costume on him. You're not going to be able to disguise him because for a tight end of his size, difficult to sneak him anywhere, but that's what they tried to do. Lined up on his right, tried to work his way back to his left, but just a minimal gain as the defense was able to react quickly.
The open man is Shark. It's complete. And he's brought to the ground with another 1st down at the Chargers' 18. Inside the red zone here. They'll look to throw. Flushed out right. And that'll be knocked away. It's incomplete.
Coaches talk about it all the time. Players talk about it as well. Excellent job staying disciplined in coverage and making that stop. Inside the red zone, every stop like that could be preventing a possible touchdown.
Now a 2nd down throw for the end zone, but it's incomplete.
I remember a coach telling me a long time ago the difference between playing corner and safety in the NFL. Corner is like the Autobahn. Everybody just flying by, and these corners have been really busy in this game, although they got it done on the last play.
On the last play, yes, but there have been some good numbers put up against them offensively. And he is stopped just short on 3rd down. Got 9 yards, but needed 10.
We can make this one pretty simple. Locked up all of his progressions downfield, forced to get it to his running back. But how about the way they ran to the football and knocked him down to force a 4th down?
And they are going to stop him on 4th and 1 as they'll wind up going backwards. They'll get neither the touchdown nor the 1st down. And the Charger defense stands tall and they get the football back. The Charger drive about to get going. So now, Charles, this drive maybe a touch more important, trying to erase the memory of that interception they had the last time out.
Yeah, and everyone goes through this because even the best in the game, you're going to have games where it just doesn't go right for you, and interceptions result. So, frankly, to me, it's all about how you respond, not just the types of plays that you call, but how you carry yourself, how you show your team that you're still with it, and how you continue to lead.
And this is intercepted, and that should do it. And the Jags are going to take possession of the football. I think you and I were a little surprised back earlier in the game when he threw his 2nd interception. I mean, who would have thought a quarterback of his caliber picked now 5 times?
It's beyond stunning to me because we're used to that with maybe a quarterback with less experience or less talent. But a quarterback of his caliber, I can't believe what we've just seen.
Absolutely. If you would have told me this coming into the ball game, I would have said never, not in a million years. But here we go.
Here we go. 60 Bison. Ready, go.
They'll stay on the ground. Ballage again. And he'll be taken down here at about the 11. 3 yards is half of what they needed. Now can they get the other 3 here on 3rd down? They'll run here with Ballage. And he takes it in. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Kalen Ballage, his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. And the Jaguars continue to show why it pays to play at home in the postseason as they add on to their lead. Extra point splits the uprights, and the lead opens up now to 22 points. The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. And here comes a return from the middle of the end zone. And he'll be stopped right around where he would have been had he gone down to a knee, maybe a yard shy of there at the 24. The Charger drive about to get going. Where we stand right now in the fourth quarter, this one pretty much out of reach. And, Charles, I know they're going to be disappointed about several things with this ball game, but the self-inflicted wounds, they've had several turnovers. You would have to think that's going to be something they're going to discuss heavily in the film session in the coming days.
You're absolutely right about that, partner, because they're going to have to sit in that film room and watch every error that they made and figure out how to not do it in the future. And mentally, I think a lot of the guys are already starting to think about, okay, how do we put this behind us and get better for the next time out? This, they'll use as motivation for the rest of the time that they play to hopefully never be in this type of situation again.
First down, here's Burrow. This is swung out to Eckler. And he's taken down right at the 45-yard line. The Chargers going to signal for the first of their timeouts as he'll get it with just a shade under a minute to go in the game. Now it's Burrow. Escaping the pressure right. And that is caught on the right sideline, but out of bounds, says the line judge. The throw took him a little too far. It's second down.
And that's another play that's painted the picture of this game overall. It's been a blowout. It's been continually fueled by big turnovers and stops for one side and an inability to advance the ball from the other.
To throw on 2nd and 10, Burrow. He'll drop this one off to Eckler. And he'll go out of bounds after taking it a little further down inside the 40. They get 7 out of that, so they're left with a 3rd and 3. Now it's Burrow. He completes it to Beckham. And he gets this one inside the 15, just a yard or two shy of the 10. Here's Burrow, rolling to his right. Got his tight end. That's complete. That's Thomas. Now the Chargers will use the second of their timeouts as the clock will stop with 18 seconds remaining.
Well, I can put my defensive cap on right now, and I know they're saying don't give up any big plays now. They've controlled this game throughout, and all they want to do is see it through to the end. I think they let their guard down a little bit with that last completion. Sometimes when you're trying not to give up bigger plays, you don't react as fast as you should on other throws.
And my goodness, another interception. He's at the 50, the 30, and the Chargers are going to take possession of the football. Well, trailing here in the fourth quarter, and that personal foul, that only adds to the hole that they're currently standing in.
Yeah, absolutely a bad job of just losing your cool and letting your anger take over. Mistakes like that, not going to help you at this stage of the game.
Now it looks like he'll throw here. To the goal line, but it's incomplete. Getting into the playoffs is one thing. Now they get to move on. Just 8 teams left.
The dream stays alive. Everyone's gunning for the Super Bowl. That's the ultimate. But you have to get there in incremental steps. One win today gets them one step closer.
So that'll do it for us. For my partner, Charles Davis, and all the hard-working men and women on our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL right here on EA Sports. The Jaguars are winners here as we say so long from Jacksonville.
Ball.